Hello everybody. I got me, my son, and my wife here, and we're going to talk about some of our recent travel that we've done. We recently just came back from Vietnam and Philippines, and we're going to talk about what we liked there and what we didn't like, but we're also going to talk about a trip we made to Thailand and Japan as well. So there'll probably be multiple videos coming along from this one shot, but we're going to start off about what you like. So I'm going to ask my son first. What did you like about Vietnam?
I think the most thing I like about Vietnam is the fact that it was very cheap there. It wasn't, I said they had some sightseeing places, a lot of shopping, a lot of exotic food around the area, and most of the stuff were cheap. So we had shirts that were only $3, which is insanely cheap, especially compared to the US.
Did you wind up buying anything while you were there?
Yeah, I brought plenty of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I brought me a pickleball powder that ended up being like $200, which sounds expensive, but back in the US it's almost $333. So that saved me about $120 right there. And then I brought me a couple shirts, brought me some AirPod Max headphones that probably knockoffs, but it was only like $15. So I decided why not go ahead and give it a chance.
So it sounded like you enjoyed yourself. Sounded like you had fun. You found a lot of cheap things and you spent a lot of money. What about you, honey? What did you enjoy about Vietnam?
Well, I enjoyed mostly the Vietnam coffee. We had a great stay at the Sheraton where we had great service, very great service. They had a lot of recommendations. The breakfast was really good there. So what caught my attention mostly was the Vietnam coffee. The egg coffee, I had the salted caramel coffee and the original one with the condensed milk. It was extremely hot. That's the part I didn't like. So the moment you stepped outside, you were sweating. So going in June may not be the best time to go, but it was still exciting with a lot of shopping, a lot of sightseeing. Food, we went to a steak place probably twice. That was really good. We really enjoyed ourselves there. Did a lot of shopping for my mother-in-law. She sews, so she got a lot of fabric that she enjoyed, and it was very reasonable. I think we got probably 8 yards or more for $80 or less. So compared to here, it was really reasonable.
That's awesome. So my favorite part is kind of like what they already said, is everything is very cheap, right? So I told my family when I got there I was going to be a millionaire. So I wound up getting like $1 million. So I'm going to post my $1 million in this video as well. I think the exchange rate was like $1 per $1 US equal to around what, 30,000, 23,000, 24,000 Vietnamese dong. So your money goes a very long way. And as my wife said, we went to Chow Steak. So there's a Chow Steak YouTube short out there. I think we spent like $16, $17 and we all ate steak, right? So can you imagine anywhere in the US where you can get steak for 3 people for $17? If you go to Outback or Longhorns, you're probably gonna spend at least $20 something for a steak meal, right? So that was also a positive as well. And really just the chilling vibe, right? So it was pretty safe. Like they had security guards. Not sure if you guys seen the security guards. Most of them were sit on the phones, or some of them would sleep. Like it was like I never felt like I was going to get robbed or I had to watch over my back or I was going to get pickpocketed. So, you know, where you can go and have fun and buy cheap things and also be safe, right? Because you don't want to get robbed while you're on vacation. So switching gears just a little bit. So what about I know my wife already touched on what she didn't like, but a little bit, let's start with you. What didn't you like?
I think the main thing I didn't like was, one, it was hot, which I wish I would have brought my electric fan that I got, but that's one thing. Another thing was that a lot of the people beg you, especially in some of the poorer areas that they have over there. Like usually in the US, you know what I'm saying, people try to sell you stuff and they might try once or twice and then they leave you alone. People there are like persistent. They're persistent on trying to get you to buy their stuff, and sometimes it gets a little bit annoying, but you kind of get it though, because they are in a little bit of a poor area, and I know it is a little bit hard for them.
I don't remember nobody really bothering us besides that one lady in the Chow State that kept bothering us in Vietnam.
We went to the train station.
Was
the
bad,
train
man.
station. So that was one thing I was disappointed in. That was one of the highlights that everybody on Reels showed, that the train station was something that you wanted to do. So I would advise, they did advise for us to check the train schedule because the train doesn't always run. So you want to make sure that you see the train. But I would advise that if you do go, not to sit on the main floor, to go to the second floor, because the second floor there, the solicitors can't come up. But when you're sitting on the bottom floor, you kind of outside, you right there near the train. So they kept coming up wanting to give you fans and things of that nature. So that part I wish I would have enjoyed more, but we got there kind of right on time. But I would suggest going to the second floor.
Yeah, go to the second floor. Those people those drinks and that coffee we had at that stop was not that great, right? So there's a lot of shops along there. So get there a little early so you can find your way. I would definitely recommend that because that's supposed to be one of the top things to do. One thing that I thought about that we did that I enjoyed was the Rainbow Bridge, I think it's called, where we got on that thing and the little bean bags and it takes you down like this colorful road, you know, for a little bit. There is a YouTube short on that as well, so make sure you check it out. But that was also pretty fun.
We probably should have did that a little later in the evening. We went pretty early in the morning time, so all the areas of that park was not open. But they had horse riding. You can get on jet skis or some things there. So all the parts of the park wasn't open, but we did enjoy the rainbow slide and the dips. The shorts really does not show how big of the dips are going down, but that was really enjoyable.
So what about you, man? I know you mentioned something that you didn't like. Any other things you can think of that you didn't like?
No, for the most part, Vietnam, I would do it again, maybe visit some other parts, and it was just so much to take in. So compared to the Philippines, the Vietnam, I mean, so many places you could have go. We couldn't get to all of them in 5 days, and then getting used to the time change. So that was our biggest obstacle, is getting used to the change, because we didn't do much at night because we were tired. So I wish we would have did a little bit more nightlife in the Vietnam.
You talk about driving. Yeah, the driving in Vietnam sucks. It really does. Like we got in a car and they do not care what they're doing on that road. If it's a green light, they gonna go. Yellow light, they gonna go. If it's a red light, they gonna go. And if they put their signal light, they let you know I'm getting over, whether you want me to or not. So
it's mostly motorcycles and scooters though in Vietnam. So that was the most economical way for them to get around. So most of the people that worked in driving had cars. So if you wanted to grab, they had cars. But mostly, and you could get a Grab scooter too, but it was 3 of us, so of course that wasn't gonna work, and I wouldn't trust it anyway.
You go in one direction and you driving in the car going one direction. You got motorcycles coming the other direction. It's like, damn, like this is not. This is a one-way road. Like there's no reason why you coming the opposite way. Right?
That driving in Vietnam is kind of insane, right? I would definitely tell you to hold your horses, right? Because them drivers, they drive pretty wild. They drive in the middle of the lanes. But also, the thing about those driving is that the Grab is pretty cheap, right? So you get like an app. It's like Uber for the Asian countries, and I mean, I think most rides cost you between $2 to $3 to $5, I would say, on average, right? So you can do a lot. Just to put that in perspective, right? We took an Uber home from the airport because our flight got changed, and so it was like 30-minute drive from the airport to our house, and it's like $70, right? So you take a 30-minute drive in Vietnam, it's like $3 to $5, maybe 10 at max, depending on peaks, depending on what time of the day is. The other thing I didn't like about Vietnam was definitely the heat, right? The heat was insane. I call it sweat on sight. So as soon as you walk outside, you might as well get ready to take another shower, because you're going to sweat and it's going to be crazy, right? So kind of.
They didn't have a lot of indoor spots. Like everything was like an outdoor kind of shop open to the outside. So you just walk through and it was no doors. So all the shops was wide open. So it's not like you had many places to get relief. Now, one thing they did have a little stores where you can always get something to drink, and they was kind of air conditioned, but of course they was tight. So the heat was tough.
Yeah, restrooms also hard to find. So if you're at the hotel, use the restroom before you go out, because you don't know when the next time you're gonna be able to use it. So.
And the places, if you went to a restaurant or something, when you did use their restroom, it was sketchy. So I think my husband put something where it was just you had to squat like in a hole or something. So it's best to, you need the hydration right, but you're sweating it out. So we were able to hold it until we got to a decent place, but finding a restaurant was difficult. I forgot about that.
Yeah, references to also, I think in Vietnam, you know, there was a lot of people that really didn't speak English, right? I think in the hotels, of course, they spoke English fairly decently, but I think as you get into the city and the town, so make sure you got your translator app out there, Google Translate, certain AirPods out there. I think the pros, and if they got active noise cancellation, they can do live translation in certain languages. So make sure you have that ready to go. But yeah, the fact that they don't really speak English, a lot of the Grab drivers don't speak English. So just make sure that you.
But they were good about communicating by translate. They use their phones also to tell us information if they didn't understand what we were saying. So they were good about that. So it's still easy to navigate, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty easy, you know. So I think that's kind of our good, our bad, our ugly experience there. I would definitely recommend you go. I do want to go back. I want to go to a different city, you know, try different things, right? Because different parts of the country have different cultures, right? But nonetheless, the whole country's cheap, right? So definitely a place that I would definitely say 10 out of 10. I would go again.
And I would say too, to make sure that you know what you want to go for, because to me it seemed like they had districts. So one area had a lot of fabric where you can get thread and zippers and stuff, and then one area they had a lot of shoes, and then one area was stationery. So make sure you know where you're going for, so that you'll go to the right location and you won't be going back and forth. You do everything on one side one day and the other side another day.
So would you go back again?
Yeah, I think I would go back. I would probably want to go to a more busier city where they probably had like roller coaster rides, or they had some like more fun activities to do. I feel like
excursions.
Yeah, you had like ATV rides, like snorkeling, all this other type of stuff that, you know what I'm saying, that might have been in Hanoi, but mostly they were like just shot here before you went. There was a whole bunch of vendors and people trying to sell you stuff. Not a lot of like real fun things to do, in my opinion, but it was still pretty good. So I would probably want to go somewhere like Ho Chi Minh next. Even though I hate the airport, we ended up doing a layover over there at Ho Chi Minh Airport, which was terrible. But I mean, but they had, I hooked it up. They had some stuff over there that I would definitely want to do.
Yeah, and they got the name. They said it's like a beach town, so if you want to do snorkeling and fishing and all kind of little activities, I think they got there. So either one of those two cities, I definitely want to go to next. What about you, my dear? What would you say? Recommend or not recommend?
I recommend going. I know we're thinking about finding some places that we can stay for a couple of months. I don't know how to live in. Now, we looked up some places. It's very reasonable to stay there, and you can also get like a maid or a cook. But I don't know how I would feel living there and navigating. And so probably get a little bit more feel of some other towns and cities in the area, I think would be a better idea. But staying right there in the Hanoi area, I'm not certain about, but it was enjoyable.
Thank you for checking out our videos. We got many more videos coming. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that way you can be notified at any time we release a new video. Also, feel free to leave any comments, any suggestions, any improvements you think we can make on our videos in the comments, and I promise we'll do our best to get back with you. Until next time, peace.